Opening hook: what if everything you thought you knew about your life, your job, your relationships, even your sense of who you are, was just a habit you'd never questioned? 2,000 years ago, Socrates, the stubborn philosopher of ancient Athens, made a claim so shocking that people still repeat it today: the unexamined life is not worth living. That's a brutal statement. But what does it actually mean for you and me right now, scrolling through a YouTube video? Why Socrates said it? Socrates wasn't trying to be poetic or edgy. He was on trial for his life. Accused of corrupting the youth and disrespecting the gods, he refused to stop questioning people in power. At his trial, he told the jury that a life without self-examination was meaningless, even if it was comfortable. In other words, freedom without reflection is just another kind of prison. What examination really means: when Socrates talked about examining life, he didn't mean sitting alone in a room, overthinking every decision. He meant actively questioning your beliefs, testing your assumptions, and learning through honest dialogue. Today, we might call this critical thinking, self-reflection, or even mindfulness. The key idea is that if you don't stop to ask, "Why am I doing this?" you might spend decades living someone else's script. Why this truth is brutal: we like to believe we're in control of our lives. But Socrates shows us how much of what we do is automatic. We inherit ideas about success, happiness, and morality from our culture. We adopt habits without knowing why. To examine your life is to shine a light on all the corners you'd rather leave dark. That's why it's brutal, because it forces honesty. The unexamined life today: think about your social media feed. Think about how algorithms decide what you see, what you buy, and even how you feel. Without self-examination, you become a passenger, not a driver. Socrates' warning feels more relevant now than ever. He wasn't just talking to ancient Athenians. He was talking to us, living in a world of distractions, noise, and ready-made opinions. Self-examination versus self-criticism. It's important to say this. Socrates wasn't telling people to hate themselves or to constantly find flaws. Self-examination isn't self-attack. It's curiosity. It's asking what's true, what matters, what do I really believe. It's about becoming your own investigator, not your own enemy. The power of questions. Socrates became famous for what we now call the Socratic method, asking questions that dig deeper and deeper until assumptions collapse. This method still powers therapy, coaching, and even legal cross-examination today. His belief: real wisdom starts when you admit you don't know. Questions are more powerful than answers because they open the door to change. Comfort versus growth. Most people don't examine their lives because it's uncomfortable. But comfort and growth rarely live in the same place. Socrates chose death over silence because he believed the examined life was worth the struggle. In your own life, every time you step back to reflect, you're practicing the same courage. A modern example: imagine someone working in a job they hate because it's safe. They've never asked why they chose it. They've never tested their assumptions about money, purpose, or talent. They're living an unexamined life. Now imagine the same person starting to journal, asking hard questions, maybe seeing a mentor or therapist. That's the examined life in action, scary but liberating. Examination builds freedom. Socrates believed that freedom wasn't just about laws or governments. It was about the mind. A person can be outwardly free, but inwardly enslaved by fear, assumptions, or inherited beliefs. Examining your life breaks those chains. It doesn't make life easier, but it makes life yours. Your turn to examine. If you're watching this video, try this. Tonight before you sleep, ask yourself 3 Socratic questions. What did I do today? Why did I do it? And did it align with who I want to be? Even this small practice can open your eyes to patterns you've been missing. The examined life isn't a one-time project. It's a habit of courage. Closing part 1. In this first part, we've explored why Socrates' brutal truth still hits hard today. He wasn't trying to depress us. He was trying to wake us up. An unexamined life may be comfortable, but it's also a kind of sleepwalking. In the next part, we'll dive into how you can actually practice the examined life, the tools, the questions, and the mindset that turn this ancient idea into a modern superpower. Opening transition. In part 1, we explored the meaning behind Socrates' statement and why an unexamined life can feel like sleepwalking through your own story. Now let's go deeper. How do you actually practice the examined life today? What steps can you take to live with more awareness and authenticity? Let's break it down. Step 1. Start with awareness. You can't examine what you don't notice. Awareness is the foundation of self-examination. Socrates spent his days in dialogue because conversation pulls hidden ideas into the open. Today, you can start by pausing during your routine and asking, what am I feeling right now? What's driving my next action? Awareness is like turning on a light in a dark room. Step 2. Question your assumptions. Every choice you make rests on an assumption. I have to work this job. I need to be married by this age. Money equals success. Socrates would challenge each of these. He believed the mind can't be free until it recognizes its own chains. When you start identifying your assumptions, you start to see which ones serve you and which ones don't. Step 3. Dialogue with others. Socrates didn't just sit alone in a cave thinking. He walked the streets, asking questions. Dialogue sharpens the mind because another person's perspective can reveal your blind spots. Try discussing your beliefs with a friend, mentor, or even in an online community. The point isn't to win an argument, it's to discover truth together. Step 4. Journaling as a tool. Writing is thinking on paper. When you write your thoughts down, they stop swirling in your head and become clear enough to examine. You can ask Socratic-style questions in your journal. Why do I want this? What's the evidence? Who told me this belief? Over time, your journal becomes a mirror of your evolving mind. Step 5. Practice why 3 times. One practical trick is to ask yourself why 3 times. For example, why am I angry? Because my coworker was rude. Why does that bother me? Because I feel disrespected. Why does feeling disrespected matter? Because I'm afraid I'm not valued. By the third why, you're closer to the root issue. This is Socratic thinking in action. Step 6. Embrace discomfort. Socrates accepted death rather than give up questioning. That shows how deeply he valued discomfort as a path to truth. When you examine your life, you'll uncover things that sting, fears, regrets, contradictions. Instead of running, stay curious. Discomfort isn't a sign you're failing. It's a sign you're growing. Step 7. Align action with insight. Self-examination without action is like reading a recipe, but never cooking. Once you see a truth about yourself, take a small step to live it. If you realize your job doesn't match your values, start exploring alternatives. If you discover a hidden bias, practice changing your behavior. Insight plus action equals transformation. Step 8. Use silence and solitude. Dialogue is powerful, but so is silence. Socrates walked alone often, thinking deeply. In a noisy world, silence is like a reset button. Even 5 minutes a day without screens or conversation can help you reconnect with yourself. Solitude gives you space to hear your own thoughts clearly. Step 9. Apply examination to all life areas. The examined life isn't just about your career or philosophy. It's about relationships, health, creativity, and your digital habits. Ask, do my friendships nourish me? Does my routine support my goals? Does my online time make me wiser or just distracted? Every domain of life benefits from this lens. Step 10. Keep it gentle but consistent. You don't need to overhaul your life overnight. The examined life is a practice, like exercise. The goal isn't perfection, it's progress. Socrates spent decades asking questions and never claimed to have all the answers. Approach yourself with patience and curiosity rather than judgment. A modern Socratic habit. Try this weekly ritual. Pick one belief or habit and investigate it Socratically. Ask where it came from, whether it's true, and what life would look like without it. Over time, this habit builds a mind that naturally questions and refines itself. This is how the examined life becomes second nature, from theory to practice at its heart. Socrates' brutal truth isn't about philosophy as an academic subject. It's about how you live day to day. By practicing awareness, questioning, dialogue, writing, and action, you transform examination from an idea into a living force in your life. You stop drifting and start steering. Closing part 2. By now you can see that the examined life isn't just a thought experiment, it's a way of being. Socrates showed that true freedom comes not from doing whatever you want, but from understanding why you want it. In the final part of this series, we'll look at the rewards of the examined life, the clarity, courage, and meaning that come when you dare to look inward. Opening transition, we've talked about why Socrates' brutal truth matters and how to practice the examined life. Now let's explore the rewards. What actually happens when you stop running on autopilot and start questioning, reflecting, and aligning your life with your values? The benefits go far beyond philosophy. They reshape everything from your mental health to your relationships. Reward 1. Clarity. One of the first benefits of the examined life is clarity. When you regularly question your assumptions, you stop feeling lost in a fog of other people's expectations. You begin to see what you truly want and what's just noise. Clarity is like cleaning the windshield of your mind so you can see where you're driving. Reward 2. Authenticity. Examining your life reveals which parts of your identity are real and which parts are borrowed. The more you investigate, the more authentic you become. You stop wearing masks to please others and start acting from your own values. Authenticity creates a quiet confidence that no trend or opinion can shake. Reward 3. Better decision making. When you know your values and question your assumptions, decisions become easier. You don't waste energy on options that don't fit your deeper goals. You can say no to distractions without guilt. This is how the examined life frees up time and mental space for what matters. Reward 4. Inner freedom. Many people think freedom is about having more choices. Socrates would argue that freedom is about self-mastery. The examined life helps you notice your impulses and choose your responses. You're no longer a puppet of habits or fears. This inner freedom is subtle but powerful. It's the ability to steer your own mind. Reward 5. Stronger relationships. When you examine your own beliefs and emotions, you become more understanding of others. You stop projecting your assumptions onto them. Conversations deepen. Conflicts become opportunities to learn rather than battles to win. The examined life creates empathy because you've learned to question your own lens first. Reward 6. Resilience. In crisis, life will always throw challenges at you: loss, change, failure. But the examined life gives you tools to handle them. When you've practiced looking at your fears and assumptions, you're less likely to be blindsided by them. You've built mental muscles for honesty and adaptation. Socrates himself modeled this when he faced his death sentence with calm dignity. Reward 7. Lifelong learning. The examined life keeps you curious. Instead of clinging to what you know, you stay open to new ideas, new people, new experiences. Socrates famously said, "I know that I know nothing." This humility is a superpower in a fast-changing world. It keeps your mind flexible and young, no matter your age. Reward 8. A sense of meaning. Many people drift through life feeling empty or numb. The examined life doesn't magically give you purpose, but it helps you discover the meaning already woven through your experiences. By reflecting on what you value, what you've survived, and what you're capable of, you weave your own narrative, one that feels worth living. Reward 9. Courage to change. A self-examination can reveal uncomfortable truths: a career you don't like, a relationship that's draining you, a habit that's hurting you. But it also gives you courage to make changes. When you're honest with yourself, you stop fearing your own reality. You can take bold steps because your actions are grounded in clarity. Reward 10. Living a legacy. Socrates never wrote books, but his examined life inspired students like Plato, who changed the course of Western thought. Your examined life also becomes a legacy. People around you notice your authenticity and courage. You model self-awareness for your friends, children, or community. The ripple effect can outlast you. Integrating the rewards. The beauty of the examined life is that its rewards build on each other. Clarity leads to authenticity. Authenticity leads to freedom. Freedom leads to better choices. Over time, you're not just reacting to life, you're shaping it consciously. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being awake. A modern Socratic life, you don't need to become a philosopher in a toga to live like Socrates. You just need to develop habits of reflection, dialogue, and action. Even a few minutes a day can change your trajectory. Over months and years, those small acts of self-examination accumulate into a powerful shift, one that shapes your destiny. A challenge for you. Here's a challenge. For the next 30 days, pick one small area of your life, like your morning routine, your social media use, or your budgeting, and examine it. Ask Socratic questions. Write down your discoveries. Notice what shifts. This small experiment can give you a direct taste of the examined life's power. Closing the series, Socrates' brutal truth was never meant to discourage you. It was an invitation to live with awareness, courage, and meaning. The unexamined life may be easier in the short term, but the examined life gives you depth, freedom, and joy. Whether you're a student, a professional, an artist, or simply a curious human being, this ancient wisdom can guide you today. Final words as you finish this video. Remember Socrates' challenge. Don't just live, examine. Don't just drift, direct. Your life, your choices, and your beliefs are too precious to leave on autopilot. In a noisy world, self-examination is an act of quiet rebellion and radical freedom.